What's up, everybody? Thanks for listening to the Whatcast. It is very hot. Sorry for my fan noise. Mike, is it hot where you're at all?
No, it's actually been kind of chilly the past couple of days. Like, we've been in the low 60s. Today, I think the high was 63, but it was super windy.
Ooh.
And yesterday, it was raining all day. So, fall's right around the corner, but I'm hoping for at least a few more nice days.
Yeah, before your town turns into an ice level in a video game.
Yeah. Well, last year it really wasn't that bad, so I'm hoping for the same in this coming year, where it gets cold, but not fuck your life cold.
Yeah. Well, I came across a video about something that we don't really cover on here. We joke about it all the time, but it's not something we delve into or discuss or share our opinions on, but that's conspiracy theories. And I thought that the state of conspiracy theories now is so wild that I just wanted to ask Mike about it and get his opinion on a bunch of stuff. And we're going to kind of break it down into three categories of what we're going to cover. One is conspiracy theories that we think are just absolutely ridiculous, conspiracy theories that we completely believe in, and conspiracy theories that we've made up on our own. Now, I'm excited to hear your take on that, Mike, because I know it's going to be cool no matter what it is. But why don't we start with conspiracy theories that we think are absolutely ridiculous? And funny enough, right before we went to record, we compared our notes, and we've both picked the exact same thing.
Yeah, because fuck those things.
I will state, we've talked about one of them before. You know what, Mike? Why don't you start with your first one?
All right. So the flat Earth theory, obviously, is the dumbest shit that's out there ever. It's so fucking dumb.
It is, and I think it's the start of like people on the internet and the world in general just actually losing their fucking minds. And like I was going to say before you said flat Earth, I've gotten a couple nice emails, really nice emails from nice people, saying, hey, maybe not laugh at it so quickly and look at the evidence. With all due respect, no, I don't want to. I'm not going to. I don't think there's evidence for Earth being flat. I think it's this new phase that people are entering to where whatever they believe is the truth, no matter what, and they have to scream and shout about it. And even if it's something as silly as that the Earth is flat, like we're floating around on some type of frisbee, to me it's just the start of insanity for the masses.
The weird thing is this one, along with the other one we're going to talk about, which is the young Earth theory, they both seem to dip very heavily in Christian right-wing ideology. For some reason. I don't get it. Like, well, I shouldn't say I don't get it. I do get it because they're using, like, biblical history as actual history. So, according to the Bible, like, if you go back and look through the lineage, like that's listed in the Old Testament, starting from Adam and moving up to the modern day, it only equals like 10,000 years or something.
Actually, I looked this up before we started. It states that the universe itself is 6,000 to 7,000 years old.
So it's the entire. So they're using the story of Genesis as the actual genesis of the universe, not just the Earth. Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the exact? It's 6,000 years.
Yeah, it averages 6 to almost 7,000 years.
That's so fucking dumb.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, like, I know carbon dating's not as precise as we think, but we can get a ballpark figure. Mesopotamia was founded 7,000 years ago.
Yeah. So are they saying that Mesopotamia is where the Garden of Eden was, or is that like what became of Abel when he was cast out into the land of Nod?
Right. I would love to be able to ask these questions to somebody who believes in this stuff, but I mean, to be honest, a lot of the times they're cuckoo birds, or like you said, with the young Earth stuff especially, not so much the flat Earth, but the right-wing stuff comes in.
The flat Earth is also, like, there's a lot of people that are citing the Bible because you hear people refer to the firmament as being the evidence that there's a bubble over our frisbee and we're just...
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And the firmament is specifically mentioned in Genesis during the creation story.
I didn't know that. But I mean, like those are all valid questions that I would love to know the answer to when it comes to young Earth and things like that, and how they explain a lot of things like carbon dating and you know math.
So for me, like I know that these two things tend to go together frequently. I don't want to say always, because obviously there's going to be people that are like, no, the Earth is clearly however many billion years old or whatever, but we're still on a fucking frisbee. And then you look at the people that will look at it and be like, no, this frisbee was created 6,000 to 7,000 years ago, and we're God's frisbee. We're God. No, I guess it'd be more akin to being God's snow globe, because the firmament. But to me, so if we're looking at, like, I think the big thing with a lot of conspiracy theories, whether it be flat Earth or aliens or whatever, it's all supposed to be this big grand conspiracy to cover up some aspect of the truth of our reality, which I get. In terms of aliens or JFK or like the Bohemian Grove, like all that stuff, I can understand wanting to cover up that stuff. But there's no reason for a flat Earth cover up. Like, if the Earth was flat, the Earth would just be flat, and that's the reality of the situation we're in. There's no reason to be like, you know what? No, we live in a round Earth. Like, oh, we're gonna show those guys. We're gonna cover up, and like, it doesn't change anything in the end, other than if the only reason I could think of why they would say it's a flat Earth rather than a round Earth is because, or why I should the other way, why they would have created the idea of a round Earth in this expanding universe is to give humanity hope that we can live among the stars. But that's fucking silly. That's just silly. That's a long way to go just to fuck with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no benefit to the cover up. Like, you cover up aliens, there's benefit to that. Then you get to keep the technology for yourself. You get to do all the experiments without the public knowing, without the enemy knowing, and you can figure all this stuff out. And then with like the JFK assassination, you cover that up because you don't want the people to know what really happened to the president. So we blame it on this madman, and then we call it a day. Because if the people lose faith in their government, then there's going to be hell to pay. So that makes sense.
You can see how radicalized people who don't believe in their government get today.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everyone, So,
but even like the moon landing conspiracy, which isn't one that I particularly believe in, but I could see the benefit of that happening because at the time we were in the midst of the Cold War, and we were in a space race with the Russians, and the Russians were the first one to make it to space, but we were the first ones to land on the moon. So fuck your face, Russia. But did we though? Did we beat Russia to the moon somehow? I don't know. I think we did, but I can understand why that would be a thing if it was a conspiracy. I could completely understand it. That makes sense. If there's some I don't know, the flat Earth thing, it just doesn't make any sense no matter what way. And then a lot of the things that people say like are as evidence for the flat Earth can very easily be debunked just using backyard science, which, like, literally stuff that you can teach little kids, you can do yourself in your backyard, and it proves that we live on a fucking sphere, not a plate.
Yeah, I mean, the first time we talked about this, we actually both looked up the articles on this, and we both brought examples of what you can do to prove that the Earth is round in your backyard, in your home. Yeah, to me, it just seems like I think you make complete sense. To what end? So what if the government tomorrow comes out and says, everybody, the Earth is flat? I think the only reaction from people would be all the flat earthers screaming that they were right. Like, I don't think anybody would give a shit. It wouldn't change anything. it would be like, well, that's weird. It's like discovering a new species. People go, oh, interesting, and they move on with their life. But I just feel with that group, all we would hear is them screaming how they were right for so long, which kind of shows to me they weren't interested in the facts in the first place.
Yeah, that's likely true. It's like anything that's kind of like dogmatic in that way, where you get so invested in the belief that there comes a certain time where the truth is inconsequential at this point. This is what I believe, and you can tell me whatever you want to tell. It's like religion, you know. You can tell someone as much as you want stuff that flies in the face of their beliefs, but if they have the belief, they're going to believe, and that's, you know, faith is a very powerful drug.
Absolutely.
But and this goes right into the young earth theory, because there would be a reason there why, according to this belief, why it was being covered up that the earth was young. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but if you are one that believes the Bible literally and follows that lineage and determines that the world is only a few thousand years old versus millions or billions, then it's going to come from a place of faith where you're believing what the Bible is teaching you to the T, and then anything that would contradict that is clearly the only answer to that is that it's a work of the devil, and the devil is trying to trick the world into thinking. I don't know why the devil's trick would be to make people think that the world is you know, billions of years old and that dinosaurs exist, but the devil's a crafty son of a bitch, and who are we to question his antics? Maybe it's just because that's the thing that will prove that the God of the Bible doesn't exist. That's the thing. If we don't think the world is a million years old or a billion years old, then God obviously doesn't exist at that point, because that wasn't in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible didn't tell me any of that. So, you know, the Bible also doesn't mention penguins, so penguins ain't natural.
Are you sure, Mike? Are you sure there's not some passage that's a metaphor for aquatic, non-flying, black and white
I'm
birds?
100%, but there are passages about fucking dragons and monsters and all sorts of madness. So, you know, I'm still waiting for the discovery of the seven-headed dragon from the ocean, but I'm sure we'll discover that at some point. It's in the Bible. If it's in the Bible, it's got to be true, you know? It's got to be true. Where are these man-faced locusts?
Oh, man.
Whatever happened to Leviathan?
Yeah, he's got to be somewhere in the water, right? I was just watching this TED Talk where this lady was demonstrating like how little we know about the ocean, just like visually. And they found this like, gosh, I forget. I think it was like some 500-foot tall coral reef just like jetting out of the bottom of the ocean floor. And it's just like right off the coast of Britain or something. And it's been there forever, and they've never known it. And it's just right off the coast. It's right in front of our face, and we would have never seen it without modern, you know, imagery. It's going to be pretty crazy when they get these aircraft carriers with mega fine sonar that bounces signals to the bottom of the ocean, and it's just going to bounce back like massive white screen because something's bones are so goddamn gigantic.
Yeah, what we think was like a rock shelf turns out to be a fucking skull of something.
Exactly. Yeah, it's face down, so all we're seeing is like the side of the jaw hinge,
Yeah.
so we can't be like, "Whoa, that's a skull." Yeah, I don't see how. I'm not picking on a certain religion, and I know that there's like Mike said and I said, there's a lot of religion and political stuff that goes tied into these things, but and I don't know if it's just the religious people saying like the whole dinosaur thing. I don't know how you just deny the entire existence of dinosaurs. That's pretty crazy.
Because it's demonic trickery. Or maybe it's the actual bones of demons that got destroyed by the faithful all over the world, even though all over the world isn't even mentioned in the Bible, but all over the world. there was demonic monsters that had to be battled and destroyed. I love that. I seriously, one day I want to go to Kentucky. I mean, I'm if I ever move down there, especially, but just to visit, I want to go down there and go to the Creationist Museum just to see the display of the man versus dinosaur versus giant Coliseum. Because
What? Wait a minute. What is this? And why don't I live in it?
dude, we've talked about it before. It's the Creationist Museum. I can't remember the dude's name that runs it. I think we talked about it in one of the giant episodes we did. But it's a museum all about creationism and the belief that the world is a few thousand years old and Noah's Ark was a real thing and we're all descendants of Adam and products of inbreeding and all that happy horse shit. But there's a part of it because they're saying that men, so they're not, this particular creationist belief doesn't believe that dinosaurs didn't exist. They believe that dinosaurs existed in the same time period with man, like at the same exact time, along with giants as well. And so they have this Colosseum thing that they built that is depicting humans fighting dinosaurs, fighting giants. And it's awesome. And a friend of mine we were playing D&D and he actually put that in his campaign. That was one of the things we had to do is fight in this arena against giants and dinosaurs.
I love it.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
As always, to each their own. They can believe whatever they want, but those are ones of the conspiracies. I mean, like literally out of almost any of them that I think are just laughable.
Yeah, they're just so silly, and watch them both be the only ones that are true out of all the conspiracy theories. Those are the ones, and I'm gonna look like an idiot at end times when the fucking 7-headed dragon comes out of the ocean. I'm gonna be like, oh shit, sorry God, I was wrong. And he's like, fuck you, you will be eaten by locusts. And I'll, get eaten by locusts and it'll suck.
As soon as that dragon's head pops out, you'll be like, praise Jesus.
Yeah. I'll be like, wait a second, did we count the crowns on those horns yet? Have we counted those crowns? I want to make sure that they're all there.
I believe that there's a sea monster, but is it the one from the Bible, sir?
Yeah. It is that the biblical beast of Armageddon? Is it? I don't know. Let me. Does it have crowns on its horns? And how many horns and how many crowns? I need to know.
Is it hissing in an ancient language?
Does it have a very promiscuous woman riding on its back?
Yeah. If I saw that, I'd be like, oh crap.
Yeah. Oh shit. There is a promiscuous woman. Does she have a cup? Oh God, we're doomed. Damn it.
I want to see AI footage of that, of like a helicopter flying around this dragon.
Oh God, yes. I don't even want. Just give me some fucking computer generated footage of that rising from the ocean. Oh my God, that would be incredible.
Right, but what about like the news chopper footage of
yes,
it zooming
that's
in?
what I want. I want it to look all grainy and fucking like someone's actually witnessing this.
Yeah, but it zooms in and there's just a normal sized woman standing on its back. That would be so gnarly.
Oh yeah, and she's butt ass naked,
and she's laughing her ass off,
and dumping what does she have in her goblet?
Ooze from Double Dare.
Yeah, from Double Dare. Yeah. It's the barrel that the Toxic Avenger fell into. And she's dumping it into the ocean like some sort of Captain Planet villain.
Oh my goodness, we're doomed.
Yeah.
We're all going to end up with misshapen heads and wearing tutus.
Yep. And that'll be the day that I recant everything I've said here, and I will apologize to all the creationists in the world and all the flat earthers, and I will say you were right and I'm an idiot. And then they can throw eggs at me while I'm being eaten by locusts.
Yeah, with little men faces. They're going to go straight for the nipples first. That's what the Bible says.
Yeah, I believe that. And then they'll probably burrow up my ass and eat me from the inside out.
Oh my God.
Sounds awful. I hate it. But that's what I deserve. That's what I deserve. I doubted it. I doubted it all. So I kind of had it coming to me, Well, what can you do?
That's what I've got to look forward to. All right, so let's move on to conspiracy theories that we 100% believe.
So, for first off, I'm going to get controversial a little bit here and say that one that I believe is the 9/11 conspiracy theory. There's just too many fucky weird things that happened that day and that have come out since then that I just there's more to the story, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I believe, you know, all of the reasonings and things behind it. But what I do know is that it's mighty convenient that Donald Rumsfeld goes on TV on September 10th and talks about billions of dollars missing from the budget and they don't know where it went. And then the next day, 9/11 happens and no one brings that up again. Just swept completely under the rug. And not to say that that was done to cover up for that, because that would have to have obviously been put together very quickly. But I think it's mighty convenient that it happened that way. And that there's just like, so the, I'm not going to get into a whole loose change sort of thing here, but just to briefly outline the things that don't seem right to me. One, the Pentagon thing. That whole thing just seems fucking crazy. Like, there's no footage of a plane hitting, yet we saw footage from like 27 different angles of the planes crashing into the towers, but no footage whatsoever exists anywhere of a plane crashing there. Not to mention that the hole that was created is smaller than the wingspan of a 747. And there was nothing there. Like, where was all of the wreckage from it? Where was all the turbines? Like, I think there was only one turbine recovered. And then there was a video that did come out from like surveillance camera from a fucking, or I shouldn't say surveillance, security camera from a gas station or something that just shows an explosion but no plane. So what the fuck?
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. Wow.
And then the fact that the people that are being called the terrorists were up to that point working with the FBI on terrorist prevention drills seems kind of weird. So it makes me wonder if maybe they were set up thinking because they're people working with the FBI on these drills, like, hey, we're going to run a live drill. Here's what's going to happen. And you do this. And then they brought the planes down. And without them even knowing it was happening, they're like, what the fuck? This is real? Oh, shit. And they're panicking along with everybody else as they fucking crash to their death.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few different things that could have happened. I mean, the only thing I can really say about 9/11, besides, I mean, that it was fucking god awful, no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what way you slice it, it's fucking, it's the biggest tragedy that we've had.
Yeah, it really bummed me out when that happened. Of course, just like everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, you and I were what at the time?
Yeah,
when it happened, we were fucking so young.
Mm-hmm. I remember, I remember playing a show like 2 days after that, and just being in the parking lot with everybody, and an airplane flew overhead, and the singer that was in our group at the time, like, almost trembled. Like, looked up and got quiet, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And I expected him to say, like, "Oh, they kind of scare me now," but he's like, "There's not supposed to be any planes in the air, bro. Everything's grounded. What is that?" Yeah, it like affected us in weird ways, you know.
Yeah, it was a weird time, man, and it seemed like for a brief period of time, it almost seemed like everybody came together, you know, like there, and then it was like. After, I don't know if you recall, but the DC sniper like kind of ruined that feeling of together. Like how could he be killing people after 9/11 just happened? What the fuck? You know, like it was like he was personally wronging me by killing random people. He was wronging the nation.
Yeah, the DC sniper stuff was crazy. That kind of shattered that not peace, but just like the brotherhood that comes with
Yeah,
rebuilding
because
and
obviously it
trauma.
wasn't peace. We went to war like the next day, so it wasn't a
Mhm.
it wasn't a time of peace. And that was other crazy shit. Like watching that on CNN in real time, like afterwards, like well, not only CNN, like every news network, it was basically like war footage 24 hours a day. And then it got even worse once we got into Iraq and we're doing the fucking shock and awe and then the constant shit over there. Like that shit was crazy. And for a while, like I kind of shut down like any idea that this could have been a conspiracy and just was looking at it for what it was, a tragedy where lots of people lost their lives. And, you know, they continued to lose their lives for weeks. Like all the first responders that got there and were trying to put out the fires and make the area safe, so many of them ended up dying. And then the health issues that a lot of those guys still face that are, you know, the ones that are still alive, they're still dealing with health issues because of that. And that's crazy too. But at that point in time when I was watching it, like that's what I was focused on. So to me, it was like when they were like, we're going to war, I'm like, fuck yeah, we are. Fuck those guys. But then I started to think, like, once things kind of cooled down a bit, I'm like, you know what? Like, it wasn't this, even if it was the Al Qaeda or the Taliban or whoever they were blaming it on, it wasn't the people. So like, I very quickly was like, you know what? No, we shouldn't even be fucking going to war. It was an act of terrorism. It wasn't an act of war. You know, it's not like Afghanistan declared war on us. In fact, the alleged terrorists were from Saudi Arabia. So it didn't make sense going to war with a country over something terrorists did.
Right. Yeah, I tried to ignore all the war footage. I was actually not cleaning out, I was moving some stuff around for my drums, and I found a box that has a VHS tape where I recorded like the entire shock and awe bombing, because they literally just televised that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And like we watched it like it was fucking fireworks. Meanwhile, you've got civilians being bombed out of their homes. Like, how fucked is that? We're showing that. We're fucking showing that.
I didn't watch it because I thought it was cool or amazing or even interesting. I wanted to like show my kids that later, because you can tell them about your uncle's stories in war. You can put on war movies, but I can now put that on and be like, this is what happens to people. Like,
Yeah.
this is what real war is. They can, I mean, like they've seen it with what's going on in Ukraine. It's everywhere. We have just footage of it. You know, of course, like I said, the 9/11 thing is just absolutely terrible. My only, like, I don't believe that can happen the way it did. I don't believe it can happen the way it is. There's two things that fuck up what they say happened, how it happened. My dad was in the military. He's from New York, and he was a radar technician. And when that happened, I instantly called him. And the first words out of his mouth is, "There's no fucking way. There's no way they didn't see those coming. This was let to happen."
Yeah, because that's the thing, especially in a city like that. If a plane goes rogue and it's heading towards a population center, like protocol is to scramble jets.
Mm-hmm.
And that never happened. Not even after the first one. Like you'd think, especially after the first one happened, before the second one happened, but no, it never happened.
Yep. And that's that's number two, really, for me when it comes to 9/11, is that it's been a long time, and as time passes on, and more stuff just comes to light, and people look at it from different angles and with cooler heads, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I mean, as somebody who's kind of try to stay away from that, because I find it insanely depressing. You hear about all these councils of engineers that just submitted reports to the government. They're just like, your report couldn't have happened, you know? It's just insanity to me.
And then because of 9/11, we have the TSA now, and they have caught a record number of terrorists. I don't know if you know this or not, but they've actually, in reality, only caught 0 terrorists. They've not prevented any terrorist attacks ever. So, but they're still there, and they're still, you know, inconveniencing travelers that are already fucking miserable because they have to go into a flying tin can for however long. Like, I remember going when I came back from my trip and I had to go through customs, and I'm like, oh my God, this is taking forever. But like, I know customs is customs. But then I get through customs, I go through a door, and it's a line equally as long to get through TSA now. And then you've got to take your fucking shoes off, throw everything in your pockets and on your carry-on through this little fucking case or this box thing that they run through a scanner. Like it's ridiculous. And they've never prevented a terrorist attack. It's never happened, but they're still there.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe the 90s were too fun, dude, and the Bill Clinton era was, people got too crazy. They had to do something to whip people back in shape with fear. I mean, I don't want to get too far into it, but fear-based trauma is a real thing. Like,
for sure.
You know,
and it's a very good mechanism for control.
Exactly. Yes, 100%. What's your next one? Or you know what? I'll do one.
Yeah. Let's. I want to hear what you got.
The first one I have is the Satanic Panic.
Wait a second. No. No. Come on. Boo.
Definitely. I think that I think it was something that was manufactured for sure, but I think that there is reason for the Satanic Panic. I think if you look at the cases that involve those types of things, and I think the normal person doesn't really know what makes a case like that type of case. You got to do a little bit more research, and you know, this day and age, you don't want to be looking up stuff like that on the internet, and I understand, but yeah, that stuff was going on like crazy. I mean, I think that the Satanic Panic was completely real. I don't think Dungeons and Dragons had anything to do with the Satanic Panic, but I think it definitely happened. I think it was happening all over the country.
To me, it just seemed like it was like the Salem witch trials, but on a national scale. Like it was just hysteria for the most part. And I'm sure, like, I know that there's actual cases of, and this goes towards like the MK Ultra type stuff, where they use trauma and as like a way to manipulate and control victims. I don't necessarily think that it had anything to do with the devil at all. I think if anything, it was probably part of the ritual, whatever the ritual was. And I guess to people that are uneducated in what this sort of thing is, like, they would just immediately go to what would be most familiar to them, which would be the demonic or the satanic. But in reality, like you say, satanic, but when you're looking at the figures in the Bible, Satan is not the devil, and most Satanists don't even believe in the devil, let alone worship the devil. So I think a lot of it has to do more with probably I don't want to say mind control experiments, but more like human control experiments, like where they're trying to use fear and trauma as a way to break the human spirit and allow control in a way like that the MK Ultra did, or the Montauk Project, if you want to go down that conspiracy hole. But those were all like designed to be just like in the way that those when I was talking about the government abductions that are made to be like alien abductions, like it's there to formulate a very specific response in the individual that's undergoing this process or the ritual or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think you're right there with a lot of that, but I think that there's a lot of weird videos I've seen, Mike. I can send you some stuff, some weird secret videos. Kind of, you got to know where to look, but just like police training videos on how to deal with like satanic ritual murder cases, what to look for. I remember I watched a video, a town where there was a satanic ritual murder. There's pentagrams carved in shit, and you know the run of the mill what you would think. But what these documentary people do is that they go to a nearby park to where these people lived, and they go through with information that they've gotten and find and show you, like there's like a metal garbage can there, and he turns it over to look at the bottom, and it's all been burnt. And he's like, this is where they held their rituals. That's the thing about the satanic panic. I agree with you that with the whole Satan worshipers don't worship Satan and all that stuff, but these are highly educated and organized versions of that belief system. And I think that's what the satanic panic is, with people who are not organized and educated in those things, thinking they are.
Yeah.
And doing,
exactly.
Yes. And I think that was getting out of hand. And there's so many things that you can look up. There's that type of murder and crimes were way more rampant than they let people on. And when a lot of people started to notice, they just blamed video games, Judas Priest and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, it wouldn't even surprise me if it was like some sort of Christian cult that was doing it, kind of like as a way to be like, look, the devil is real. Because I mean,
oh yeah,
I don't know. The loudest proponents seem to be the Christian extremists, like talking about the devil corrupting the youth, and it's don't let them read comic books or play video games or listen to rock and roll music or play dungeons. Don't do anything that's even remotely fun. Like if you're doing anything other than praying, then the devil has his claws in you.
Yeah, I think that might have been like kind of an attempt to resync that into the morals of the country as well. And I think we all can agree that there's no lesser separation from church and state than it is right now in our country. I mean, like every YouTube commercial I come across, Mike, and I don't know why I personally would be getting this. There's nothing I watch that would prompt this, but whenever I get a YouTube commercial, it's an hour and a half sermon.
Oh wow, that's annoying.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife about it, and she was like, that's weird. I don't get that. I was just like, I'll show you. And she's like, how long is it? I was like, they're hours long.
I've never had that happen to me.
Dude, it finally did today. And I just ran into the room, and it was 89 minutes long. And it's literally some guy's podcast about Jesus. And it's just nuts. I mean, yeah, there's always been a strong Christian presence in this country. Everybody knows that, but I've always taught my daughters about that stuff, what to watch for, pay attention, like how to create opposition. I always told them, like, if you're on a red team and there's a blue team and you want the red team to fight the blue team, you just go over there and pretend to be blue and say the red team killed your baby. It's real easy to get people angry at each other, real simple. It doesn't take much. So what's your next one, Mike?
My next one's fun, and that's Atlantis. I fully... Now, let me, before I get into why I believe that, let me start by saying I don't believe in like the utopian society apex of technology sort of thing. But I'm also not discounting that. But what I am discounting, or what I am 100% behind, is the hidden or lost civilization being real. We discover new shit in the ground all the time. And if let's say that the story of Atlantis was real, that would put Atlantis like somewhere between 10 and 12,000 years from now. We know that there was a great flood from the melting of the glaciers. So like that story in the Bible of Noah's Ark, while it's very unlikely that he captured 2 of every animal on the planet and saved them until the flood subsided. It is very likely that area did have an actual flood. So because of all the flooding, I don't see where it would be a far cry to say that there were lost civilizations or civilizations that were lost during that flood, whether it be Atlantis, Mu, Lemuria, whatever. Maybe all of them, maybe even more beyond those that we don't even know about, that were just lost because of the flooding. And then there's also that theory we talked about a couple of years ago, I think, with the with Atlantis in the desert, and that it didn't sink, the water just left, and then it just kind of dried up, and now it's a patch of desert now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think any stories of lost civilizations are necessarily wrong. I think that they're probably like embellished, I guess we'll say, where they're they kind of take like a legendary or mythological status. So you get like these stories of Atlantis being like this place where fucking wizards and aliens lived, and they were super advanced, more advanced than anybody else at the time, and all that stuff. But well, I don't know if that's real or not. I do fully believe that such places existed, and that we're gonna find, like, we have found other evidence of parts of civilizations that we know existed, and we found ruins of them underwater, so that we previously didn't know about, and then we found them. We're like, oh shit, look, we found this, and now we know this about this civilization. And why is it such a far cry that a place like Atlantis, it went under the water when the flooding happened? And it probably wasn't like an overnight thing, like was like they said in the ancient writings, but it was probably due to flooding, and they're like, we need to bail, and then now it's underwater.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just it seems plausible to me.
Me too. I definitely think that's a possibility. I think as far as like the age of discovery, for humans on this planet, I don't think it's even begun yet.
Yeah, it's like and you say age of discovery, but it's almost like rediscovering what we were and where we came from.
Yeah, exactly. To me, I don't understand people believing in anything so solidly, since everything is so babyish and new for us as a species.
Right. Yeah.
I will not be surprised when they pull artifacts from Atlantis out of the ocean.
Yeah, I want Atlantean butt crystals to be found.
Oh yeah.
That's what the world needs. It needs Atlantean butt crystals, and they're fucking hoarding them from us. That's why they want to make Atlantis look like a joke, because they're hoarding the butt crystals. Give us the butt crystals. Unleash them on the public. We deserve it.
They need it. Now's the time for butt crystals of Atlantean glass.
Yeah. Yeah, they're charged with salt water and the sun.
Good Lord.
And each one contains the dead soul of a Atlantean that drowned in the Great Flood. And in order to preserve what consciousness they have, they have to imbue a crystal with it.
I'm in. All right, so yeah, we're pushing time, so we're gonna go right to our own conspiracy theories that we've made up in our head and completely believe. Who do you want to do the first one this time, Mike?
You go first.
All right. So my conspiracy that I've made up that I completely believe is the fact that I don't think possibly the planet, but I feel definitely that this country does not have any food, like almost no food at all.
I don't understand this. Go on. Explain to me. Make me understand. Make me believe, Mateo. I want to believe that there's no food in this country.
I've always pointed to expiration dates, especially on canned food. And every time I bring it up, everybody laughs at that, but they don't really have an explanation for it. I don't understand how we can have cans of Chef Boyardee when we were kids in the 80s that said they expired in 1998. And then now when you get a can of Chef Boyardee's, it says it expires in 2 years. I think that the canned food can itself has basically been virtually unchanged since its creation. And I think that's probably done on purpose so that labels can be changed when companies update logos and stuff to make these cans seem modern and new. But I think I think that most of that type of food is the same food that was around when we were kids in the 80s.
So you're saying that there's no new food.
Yeah, I don't think there's any new food.
But what about produce?
Well, see, there's so many bullshit things going on with produce, like, Monsanto, and there's so many vegetables you can't even grow on your own. I read somewhere, I don't know if it's true, I want to do more research into it, but it's interesting just to mention, I heard that in some places, California is one places that sign on to it, that if you have a garden, you have to register it now.
Yeah, but even if you have to register it, that food still exists.
Right, but it's also giving them a big fat list where there's food when shit goes down.
That's fucking ridiculous that you have to register a garden. Fuck all the way off. I'm not living anywhere where I've got to register a garden.
I think the government wants to push us to eat fast food for multiple reasons. One, they want you to die. Well, they don't want you to die. They want you to get it sick and have to go to the hospital so they make their money.
So they can make money off you from the healthcare, the quote unquote healthcare system, which is they're not interested in making you well. They're just interested in treating you.
And then the pharmaceutical company will get well or get money off of that. And then
the doctors get paid by the pharmaceutical companies for pushing their drugs. And then the fucking FDA has a revolving door between people and pharmaceutical companies and like companies like Monsanto. And then when they retire from there, they get a place in government. And then when they get out of government, they get a job as a lobbyist. And it's, this whole fucking incestuous cycle. It's disgusting and I hate it.
Yeah, and that's not make-believe. That's not myth or Mike's belief. You can just look at
no, that's all 100% accurate. And the other thing is, like, so we've got the Food and Drug Administration, right? But why is food linked with our drugs? That doesn't seem like, I would think that the Department of Agriculture should oversee food production, not the FDA.
Right.
The fact that they're linking drugs to our food, they're just flaunting it right in our face. Like, hey, guess what we're doing? Guess what we're doing?
Yeah, and I think the government also wants you to eat fast food so you don't go buy grocery store food, like you said, Mike, produce and things like that. I know that things are set up. I know here in California, quote, hot and prepared food are taxed at 7.25%. And from what I understand,
fresh food is not.
Fresh food is not, correct. Yeah. Correct. But have you ever wondered why Safeway has a deli? Because it's hot prepared food. Now they can charge tax. And it says California has guidelines set for when that happens. They can start putting some taxes on everything in general. They say if you have a place that fucking has one heat lamp, from what I understand, that keeps warm food, the government can now tax you. So now that's another reason why they want you to fucking eat fast food, so you're not eating the food that they have left. I know that inflation's been going on and prices and of things have gone crazy. Mike, we've talked about that in private, just how insane that is. But to me, it's a little bit more when people are putting out, like, there's this TikTok video that my wife showed me, and it's a dude who gets his groceries online and delivered through Walmart. I do that. I get my groceries delivered through Walmart. I hate going to Walmart. It's not good for me to go into Walmart.
I'm the same way, man. I'm the exact same way. My tension levels go way the fuck up the second I walk through those doors.
But this kid, he did the same thing, and they have an option to where you can press a button and it says order again. So it'll pull up all your past orders, and you can just press the button and it'll order all the same things. So he showed you the order again price, and it was literally like $120 something. It was groceries for him for a month. It was a single dude who lived by himself. So he shows you, he presses order again and it's over $400. That's, people say, like, that's not inflation, that's insanity. So much like we were talking about Christianity not being so like being so prevalent in today's things, so is the other side. Like, if you know about symbolism of Satanism and all that, any type of dark magics and stuff, that shit's all over the fucking place too. So it seems like there's some type of holy war going on, and there's an absolute insane money grab that's going on. Absolutely insane amount of money that everybody is trying to harvest. It's not just the government, it's everybody. I don't see how companies are allowed. That's not the price of things doubling. That's not the price of things tripling. That's insane that it was over $400 for this order. And I pay attention to that type of things when I shop, and it's very true. There's something very weird going on to where they want you to eat fast food, and now they're making it just as expensive to shop at the grocery store than to buy fast food. You might as well go buy fast food and not have to fucking cook anything. So I think there's a definite push for people not to buy groceries and not to buy fresh food. And I paying attention to that shit, the quality of all that shit's going down. I saw these fucking weird videos on the internet about fake food being found in stores, and I thought it was a joke until, like, I got bananas that I couldn't tear in half, dude. Like, it's weird. It's not normal things. I think synthetic food's being slowly leaked into our food, our inventory food that's being distributed, because there is no real food. I truly don't think there's maybe it's I mean, there's of course food shortages all over the world, but I think the U.S. has been in that state for a fucking while. There's more people in the world now more than ever, of course, but America consumes 3 billion pounds of meat a year, of beef, and that's from 2021. 8 billion chickens a year, 1.9 million pigs, 4.9 million tons a year of rice, 27,000 tons of wheat. I don't think we have that anymore. I don't how can we sustain that? All that shit that I just told you, that's going to McDonald's. That's going to Subway. That's not going to Safeway. I think that's all going to fucking Burger King, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it's not going to stores. They're filling stores full of garbage, and they're making it so expensive that you can't go grocery shopping anymore. You might as well go out and eat. You might as well spend the money on fast food because it costs the same and you don't have to do anything. And COVID made it possible to where you can just have it brought to your house now, not just pizza, anything. If you're going to have it brought to your house like fast food, you're going to fucking pay for it like it's fucking fast food.
Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, just look at how much money gets spent in advertising for fast food places. Like, you're not seeing advertising for National Farms, you know, or advertising for, you know, bell peppers. It's always fast food.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's my story. It's weird. It's weird. Like like you guys know, I lived in San Jose. That's where I lived when we started the show, and it's a huge, huge city, and groceries and produce and stuff like that. A lot of farm area, you know, just outside of San Jose. That was all rad. And where I moved now, it's more inner city. And it's just ridiculous buying meat here. Hamburger, chicken, anything. I can literally, it happens all the time. It drives my wife fucking nuts. We'll buy, let's say, 10 pounds of ground beef. Okay? And then we'll instantly put it in the freezer. And it's literally rotten when we thaw it out. It's anything, any type of meat. We end up throwing away half of our meat. Because it's all rotten.
Well, that's fucking gross. That's really fucking gross. Like, I don't ever have anything like that happen.
No, I've never come across it living in the cities where I lived. I guess bigger cities where I don't know why. It's nuts. I used to be a butcher. I know what blood dressing is. They do that. I know that. They just dump fresh blood on a bunch of old meat so it turns a little bit more pink and sell that shit. But it's I have like a vacuum seal freezer fucking food preserver, dude, and that doesn't do anything. I like spend money on something like that so this doesn't happen. But all the meat that I come across in cities like, you know, more inner city, it's all rotten. It's all fucking terrible. I watched some dude on the internet who talks about, you know, go get your meat from a farmer. You know, it's he pays around $600 for this many pounds of meat, and it lasts them a year just by a deep freezer. I fucking looked into it. They want like $4,000. They want like $4,000 to butcher a fucking cow for you. It's weird. It just seems like almost apocalyptic. The money grab that's happening, the price of things, like it's just nuts. I really try not to eat fast food. I don't, but sometimes I'll swing by Taco Bell and get a treat for my daughter. She loves Taco Bell. And I know I'm fucking not 20 years old anymore. Everybody tells me, like, oh yeah, that was the price 20 years ago. I understand that. I really fucking do. But a taco that was 99 cents like 4 years ago, being $4.99 now, doesn't make sense. You didn't sprinkle gold in your fucking taco. You didn't add a couple drops of LSD. It doesn't get me high. It doesn't get me drunk. Why is the same thing for the price of everything gone up? Yeah, that's my fucking point. By like 400%.
And that's everything. Like, I remember when I used to work at a gas station, it was maybe like, it ranged from 89 cents to like $1.06, you know, and now in some places you're seeing it's fucking $5 or more. It's crazy. I mean, here right now, I think it's like 380 something right now, but that's still like, look at that jump in price, you know?
Yeah, but see, I expect gasoline to do that, but something makes my fucking ears pucker up a little bit when raisins are fucking $8.
Yeah. I mean, I can get. I remember I used to be able to get like a pound of beef, and it would be like 2 something. And now, like for our family, we'll get, when we go grocery shopping, we'll get 4.5 pounds, like the big fucking thing, and that's like $20 something for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's absurd. And how about the cost of chicken wings, by the way?
Oh yeah.
I remember not even all that long ago, we would go to wing night, and it would be 10 cents a wing. And then I remember the price went up, and it would be 15 cents a wing. And now it's like, you're looking at, if you go to wing night, it's a deal if you can find wings for $1 per wing. But somehow, for some reason, like these little fucking things that are like 3 bites of chicken are $1, but you could go buy an entire fucking chicken at Walmart for $6. How's that work?
Yeah. They always make you pay for convenience. No, that's always been a charge. They make shit fat free, and they charge you $3 more for it. What do you mean $3 more? You fucking took something
stuff
out of it.
What the fuck?
Something sugar free, or like
you added water to it. That's what you did. You added water and took some fat out, and now you're charging me more.
Yeah, it's just so like insane to see how plainly it's laid out, to where like, yeah, eat this or get sick and die, and we're now that's the only thing you can eat because that's the only thing most people can afford.
Yeah, it's fucking inflation, and inflation is bullshit on its own. That's a whole conspiracy of itself, controlled inflation.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, we could go down that road for like 27 years, but let's just chalk this whole episode up, the entire fucking episode, to the government just being run by cunts.
I agree. Here.
Yeah. Cunty government.
Cuntiment.
Yeah. Fuck your government. That's what I say. Right in the cunt.
Thank you for listening to the Whatcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, iTunes, and YouTube. Enjoy the podcast. Get yourself a Whatcast t-shirt or a sticker pack. Who was that dude on that one episode? Try the links in Homie's page. All this and more can be found at www.thewhatcasters.com. Thanks again for listening and have a great week.